It was a crisp autumn in Chicago, 1982. The leaves were turning and the air was filled with the promise of the holiday season. But a sense of dread began to creep through the city. People were dying. They were young, healthy, and taken too soon. The authorities were baffled. There seemed to be no connection between the victims. Then a chilling detail emerged. Each victim had taken extra-strength Tylenol shortly before their death. Panic gripped Chicago. The city, known for its bustling streets and vibrant life, was suddenly shrouded in fear. People hurried through the streets, their faces etched with worry, clutching newspapers that screamed alarming headlines. The sense of dread was palpable, a dark cloud hanging over the windy city. The common thread was undeniable. It was a product that everyone trusted, a household name that had found its way into nearly every home. Tylenol, a staple in medicine cabinets, was now at the center of a terrifying mystery. Extra-strength Tylenol capsules were laced with potassium cyanide, a deadly dose. The realization sent shockwaves through the community. How could something so familiar, so trusted, become a vessel for death? The white powder inside the capsules was a silent killer, invisible to the naked eye but lethal in its potency. The killer had chosen a product found in medicine cabinets across the nation. It was a calculated move targeting something that people used without a second thought. The very act of reaching for relief had become an act of danger. This wasn't a random act, it was a deliberate, sinister plan. The shadowy figure, hidden in the depths of the city, had orchestrated a campaign of terror. The hand that held the Tylenol capsules was the hand of a cold, calculating killer. It was a calculated attack on unsuspecting victims. The tampering was meticulous, the execution flawless. The killer moved through store aisles with a chilling purpose, leaving behind a trail of poisoned pills. The news spread like wildfire. Television screens and newspapers blared the horrifying details. The Tylenol murders, as they came to be known, dominated the headlines. Every newscast brought fresh waves of fear, every headline a reminder of the lurking danger. Fear and uncertainty hung heavy in the air. Conversations in public places were hushed, filled with anxious whispers. The once bustling streets were now eerily quiet, as if the city itself was holding its breath, waiting for the next blow. People emptied their medicine cabinets, terrified of what they might find. Bottles were thrown away in a frenzy, hands trembling as they sifted through their supplies. The trust in a simple pain reliever had been shattered, replaced by a pervasive sense of dread. The killer remained at large, a phantom in the windy city. The police patrolled the dark streets, their presence a stark reminder of the ongoing threat. The skyline of Chicago, usually a symbol of strength and resilience, now stood as a silent witness to the unfolding horror. The hunt for the poisoner had begun, but the shadowy figure continued to elude capture, leaving a city in fear and a nation on edge. Johnson & Johnson, the maker of Tylenol, faced a crisis of unimaginable proportions. In the early 1980s, the company was thrust into the spotlight when several people tragically died after consuming Tylenol capsules laced with cyanide. This incident not only shocked the nation, but also posed a significant threat to the company's reputation and consumer trust. Their product, a trusted name in pain relief, was now a symbol of terror. The once reliable Tylenol, found in medicine cabinets across America, had become a source of fear and uncertainty. Consumers were terrified, and the media frenzy only added to the panic. The company acted swiftly and decisively. Johnson & Johnson's leadership knew that immediate action was necessary to protect the public and restore confidence in their brand. They convened emergency meetings, consulted with experts, and devised a comprehensive plan to address the crisis head-on. They issued a nationwide recall of all Tylenol products. This bold decision, costing the company millions of dollars, was unprecedented in the pharmaceutical industry. It demonstrated their commitment to consumer safety above all else. It was a bold move, an unprecedented response to a public health crisis. The recall was a massive logistical undertaking involving the removal of 31 million bottles of Tylenol from store shelves. The public watched in awe as Johnson & Johnson took responsibility and acted with integrity. Johnson & Johnson's CEO, James Burke, became the face of the company's response. His leadership during this tumultuous time was crucial. Burke's calm demeanor and transparent communication helped to reassure the public and stakeholders alike. He appeared on television, assuring the public that they were doing everything in their power to ensure safety. Burke's frequent media appearances and honest updates were instrumental in rebuilding trust. He emphasized the company's dedication to finding the perpetrators and preventing such incidents in the future. This crisis management strategy not only salvaged the company's reputation, but also set a new standard for corporate responsibility. As the investigation intensified, a chilling development emerged. An extortion letter arrived at Johnson & Johnson's headquarters. The writer claimed responsibility for the poisonings. They demanded $1 million to stop the killings. The FBI analyzed the letter, searching for clues. Handwriting experts were brought in. Every word was scrutinized. The race was on to find the author and bring them to justice. A suspect emerges. The investigation took a turn when authorities zeroed in on a man named James William Lewis. Lewis had a history of mental instability. He had sent threatening letters in the past. His wife worked for a company that had employed one of the victims. Lewis was apprehended and charged with extortion. He maintained his innocence in the poisonings, but was convicted of the extortion attempt. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison. A web of suspicions. Despite Lewis's conviction, doubts lingered. The evidence linking him to the actual poisonings remained circumstantial. Some investigators believed he had an accomplice, someone who helped him carry out the deadly plot. Lewis's wife also came under scrutiny. Investigators explored the possibility that she played a role in the crimes. However, no concrete evidence was found to charge her. The mystery deepened. In the wake of the Chicago Tylenol murders, copycat crimes emerged across the country. Products were tampered with, often with harmless substances, but the fear was real. The Tylenol murders had exposed a terrifying vulnerability in the consumer market. Law enforcement agencies were overwhelmed. The public was on edge. The simple act of buying a bottle of aspirin had become an exercise in fear. The Tylenol murders forced the pharmaceutical industry to confront its vulnerabilities. Tamper-resistant packaging became the norm. Triple-sealed bottles, induction seals, and tamper-evident features were introduced. These innovations aimed to restore public trust. Over-the-counter medications were no longer sold in easily tampered-with capsules. Instead, solid caplets and tablets became the standard. The industry had learned a hard lesson. Despite countless hours of investigation, the Chicago Tylenol murders remain unsolved. This case, which began in 1982, has baffled law enforcement and the public alike. 7 people tragically lost their lives after ingesting cyanide-laced Tylenol capsules, leading to a nationwide panic and a massive recall of the product. The investigation was one of the largest in American history, involving the FBI, local police, and even the Food and Drug Administration. Yet, despite the extensive efforts, the perpetrator was never brought to justice. James William Lewis, the prime suspect, maintained his innocence in the poisonings until his death in 2023. Lewis was arrested after sending a letter to Johnson & Johnson demanding $1 million to stop the killings, but he always claimed he was merely trying to exploit the situation for financial gain and had no actual involvement in the murders. His arrest and subsequent trial were highly publicized, but the evidence against him was circumstantial at best. He continued to claim he was a victim of circumstance. Throughout his life, Lewis insisted that he was framed and that the real killer was still out there. His proclamations of innocence were met with skepticism by some, but others believed that he might indeed have been wrongly accused. The lack of concrete evidence left many questions unanswered. The lack of a definitive answer has haunted the families of the victims for decades. For the loved ones of those who died, the pain of their loss is compounded by the absence of closure. They have held vigils, created memorials, and continued to seek justice, but the shadow of uncertainty looms large. Each anniversary of the tragedy brings renewed grief and a reminder of the unresolved nature of the case. The question of who committed these heinous acts and why continues to linger. Theories have abounded over the years, ranging from disgruntled employees to random acts of terror. Some have speculated about a larger conspiracy, while others believe it was the work of a lone, deranged individual. Despite numerous leads and tips, the case remains open, with law enforcement still hoping for a breakthrough. The case remains a chilling reminder of the random nature of evil. It underscores the vulnerability of everyday life and the unpredictable threats that can emerge without warning. The Chicago Tylenol murders not only changed the way products are packaged and sold, but also left an indelible mark on the collective consciousness. As the years pass, the hope for resolution persists, but the mystery endures, a testament to the complexities of human nature and the dark shadows that sometimes fall across our world. The Chicago Tylenol murders left an undeniable mark on American society. The case highlighted the vulnerability of consumer products and the devastating consequences of product tampering. It forced a reckoning within the pharmaceutical industry, leading to significant advancements in product safety and packaging. The murders serve as a reminder of the importance of vigilance, the need for continuous improvement in product safety, and the enduring power of fear in a society grappling with the unknown.